Welcome back everyone to another episode of Vegetarian Cooking with JJ. In this week's episode, I'm going to be making a vegan Chinese dish in two different styles. One is going to be a curry fishless gluten, and the other one is going to be a sweet and sour gluten. Now, this gluten may not be the type that you're accustomed to because it's going to have more of a puffy texture. It's not intended to have that bite or that chewy texture. So it will be a little bit different for some of you people. And as for the curry one, you're welcome to make it as spicy or as mild as you like. And as for the sweet and sour one, well, it is a crowd pleaser. It does have quite a nice rich flavor. So without further ado, let's head over to the kitchen and get cooking. First of all, we'll add 2 pinches of raw sugar to this dish and a half a teaspoon of yeast. We're going to add 6 ounces of water and mix it up. Now in a separate big bowl, you'll add a half a cup of vital wheat gluten flour, a half a teaspoon of onion powder and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Break up 2/3 of a sheet of nori. You can also use a half a teaspoon of kelp flakes. Add in a 1/8 teaspoon of salt and mix it up. And we're going to add in our yeast and water mixture into our dry ingredients. If it's too sticky, just add some more vital wheat gluten flour. Pull and stretch the dough for about 5 minutes. Let the dough rest for about 10 minutes. Once your dough is done resting, heat up a pot of oil for your deep frying. While it's heating up, you can cut your dough pieces. Ideally, you want them to be 3/4 of an inch. Mine ended up being a little bit bigger, but keep in mind, these are going to triple in size once they're heated up. You can test the first piece of dough to see if the oil is ready. Otherwise, if you have a kitchen thermometer, feel free to use that. If they do stick together, simply use some metal utensils to separate them. Try to avoid overcrowding the pot. You want to make sure the pieces are golden brown. Only scoop them out once they're brown all around. When you scoop them out, be sure to place them on some paper towel to absorb the oil. I tried these fried pieces on their own without any sauce, and they were quite tasty. However, they would go well as a snack with dipping sauce. The original sourced recipe instructs you to boil the fried pieces in some veggie stock. I wanted to compare how they tasted using this method or cooking them straight into the sauce. So I'm going to make a total of 4 different versions as a result and let you know which one is the best one. Once our gluten pieces have boiled for up to 10 minutes, we're draining them and then squeezing the water out once they've cooled off a little bit. I decided to make some bok choy and a couple of other things to go along with this. Squeezing out all our liquid from our gluten pieces as much as possible. First of all, we'll start off with our curry sauce, so I'm adding 1 tablespoon of neutral oil, a 1/4 cup of our coconut milk, 1 tablespoon of curry powder, and 1 tablespoon of raw sugar. Mix it up. Adding 1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of white pepper and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of our Chinese 5-spice blend. If you browse a bunch of Chinese recipes online, you will notice that white pepper is used quite a bit, as opposed to the black pepper, which North Americans are so familiar with. Now, while the white and black peppercorns come from the same plant, they're processed very differently, which creates a different taste. With the black peppercorns, they're harvested before they're ripe, they cook them, and they become shrivelly and black on the outside. And with the white peppercorns, they're harvested when they're ripe, they remove the outer skin, and you got the inner seed, which they dry out. And if you taste test these, you will notice a difference, and I'm interested to know what your thoughts and what your preference is, white pepper or black pepper, or both. I'm also adding a couple of freshly chopped red chilies. These are the tiny ones. I wanted to add some more spice, so I just added some dried chilies as well. Curry is more common in southern China, and as for the sweet and sour sauce, it is likely to have originated from Hunan. Now, when it came over to North America, it was likely altered to be more sweet to appeal to the North American taste buds. I'm dividing our sauce amongst the 2 pans here so that we can separate the boiled and the fried pieces. So I'm plunging in our boiled seitan pieces into this pan, and over here in this pan we're plunging our fried pieces straight into the sauce. Of course, if you like extra sauce, feel free to increase the recipe. I started off with both pans at medium heat, and I reduced the heat to the lowest heat setting for the remainder of the cooking time. You will see that the sauce will start to thicken, but if you have a great deal of sauce in the end, you can always add the cornstarch and water mixture, and it will also give that glossy look. Now onto our sweet and sour sauce. I'm adding our tablespoon of oil to this bowl, our 1/4 cup of chopped red onion, a 1/4 cup of our rice wine vinegar, plus an additional tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of vegan Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of sugar, I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, and 1 tablespoon of applesauce. One teaspoon of tamarind paste, and a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. And I'm popping in 2 teaspoons of molasses, a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Add 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed orange juice straight from the orange. Mix it all up. There are 8 different cuisines in China. They are Anhui, Cantonese, Fujian, Hunan, Jiangsu, Shandong, Sichuan, and Jiaxing. I hope I pronounced them all right. If I didn't, feel free to correct me. Traditionally in China, fresh fruits and veggies are used rather than the ones from the can. Whereas here, if you're making different Chinese dishes, you may have to make some substitutions, such as the bamboo shoots, for an example. And you may think, oh, if you're from China, you must know all the different types of dishes. But since there's so many different types of cuisines throughout China, just because someone's from there may not know all the varieties of dishes. There's so many out there. Even if you're well-traveled, you may not know them all. It would be quite difficult. Every food in China has a superstitious symbol, and they can be connected to some legends. The shapes and the names of the food also contribute to their superstitious meanings or symbolisms. Once again, we're dividing our sauce in half amongst these 2 pans. Well, one is a pot, one is a pan. On this side, it's going to be our boiled pieces. And over here on this side, we're plunging in our fried pieces straight into the sauce. Make sure they're coated nice and evenly. So we're starting off with medium heat and reducing our heat to low. Adding the cornstarch thickens up the sauce and gives it that glistening finish. You may also like to finish this off with some sesame oil, just a couple of drizzles. So now we're going to plate everything. So we got our boiled pieces with the curry sauce, our fried pieces with the curry sauce, and we got our sweet and sour pieces from the boiled side and our sweet and sour pieces from the fried side. We got our bok choy, our cabbage, our rice, and we're ready to taste test everything. We'll find out which ones are the winners. It's that time again, everyone. I get to try the curry fishless stomach and the sweet and sour version of it. So we have 4 different versions, in fact, because one version was fried and put straight into the sauce, whereas the other version was boiled first after being fried, squeezed out, and then put into the sauce. So we're going to compare and see which one is better. So I'm going to try the boiled version first of both. So I'll go ahead and try the curry version. Very nice. Now let's try the fried straight into the sauce. I think I prefer the fried straight into the sauce. I find that the flavor is richer. The texture is a little bit different, which I quite enjoy. So now on to the sweet and sour, the fried and boiled and into the sauce. That one first. Quite nice. Now on to the one that was fried and put straight into the sauce without being boiled. And it's the same situation with the sweet and sour one. The sauce seems to be richer and the texture seems to be a little bit different, which I prefer. So the boiled one is a little bit more tender, and I have some bok choy here. Quite nice. We have some rice to go along with it, so we can mix the sauce with the rice. My Chinese vegetarian teacher at George Brown College instructed us to do the boiling after the frying. Now this was a bonus recipe, so it was not actually included as a part of the course. It was just an extra recipe that she gave us, and I put my own little spin on it as well. So going forward for this recipe, I'm going to go straight from the frying into the sauce. If you like this video in any way, shape, or form, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, hit that little bell notification icon so you don't miss a single video. There's going to be a new video every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern. We're traveling the globe in my kitchen, keeping things interesting in my kitchen and in yours. Bon appetit.